Welcome back. Another video that is maybe a little more generic in terms of this is going to be similar to the video I did a couple of weeks ago on financial institutions, things to think about maybe before you head out and become a truck driver. And this, however, has to do more with your phone. Things that I didn't necessarily think about. Things like how much data are you going to use? What are you going to do if your phone has a problem? And how are you going to resolve that? I'm sure most of you are very, very reliant on your phones as it is right now. I use my phone quite a bit. I used my phone a lot before I started truck driving. My previous career, I know I've talked about, if you go back on the who, what, and why video, I spent 17 years in radio. A good portion of that 17 years was spent in sports radio, which meant I was traveling, broadcasting games, and as cell phone technology progressed, I used my phone more and more with the internet, gathering statistics and things like that. I have obviously become familiar and used phones a lot. I never had more than a 1 gigabyte plan. I believe we got a free gigabyte just before I left. I used to have Sprint, moved on to Verizon, and this is not a which plan is better, which plan works in what. That's not what I want this to be about. Point I'm making is we had a 1 gigabyte plan. There was a promotional offer for a free gigabyte. So I had 2 gigabytes of data when I left to become a truck driver. Every month I was pushing up against the 2 gigabyte limit. I would turn my phone off when I was driving, or turn the data off when I was driving, so that I wasn't getting notifications, things like that. But then, of course, as soon as you turn it back on, you get email notifications, you get whatever notifications that you normally would get. And as I'm recording this video, I'm getting little notifications popping up. This, by the way, is a new phone that I just got. So interesting to see how this works, because this is going to tie into the other part of my video. But as I was out driving, and I had just started, I was in the first phase, PSD, Prime Student Driver, and you can look that up, the video on that first phase, where I was always bumping up against the 2 gigabyte limit. And we decided that we were going to go from 2 to 5 gigabytes. Well, as things progressed, and of course, you're on your phone all the time, whether you're researching directions or looking at maps or things along those lines. You need to find, well, where's the nearest Walmart? Obviously, you've got that information in a GPS, but sometimes you're not in your truck. Maybe you're inside of a truck stop. You want to look that information up. So you use your phone for work. Now, from that standpoint, the good news is it is a tax deduction. So your portion, if you're on a family plan, or your entire cell phone bill, can be used as a tax deduction. So that's good news on that end. But we quickly went from the 2 to 5, and then we went from the 5 to the 10, and then we went from the 10 to the 15 gigabyte plan, and currently I'm on the 24, which is the largest plan, because you have a lot of downtime. In addition to using it for work, looking up directions, looking at maps, where is Walmart, where is the truck stop, using apps like Trucker Path, which is a fantastic app. And I think I'll put a list in the description of this video of all the apps that I use, and that includes Trucker Path. It includes all the apps for the truck stops, the 3 main truck stops, really. TA Petro has its own, Pilot Flying J has its own, and Loves has their own app. And there are benefits to using those apps. Obviously, they've got in-depth information on each stop. Trucker Path, if you're not familiar, it's basically a Google Maps combined with all the truck stops, parking areas, rest stops, things like that. Way stations are built in, and that is crowdsourced, where you can look at, here's where I'm going in real time, how many parking spaces are left. Are there a lot of spots left, a few spots left, or is it full? And that's great information for you to have. And it has the historical trends of how much parking is available typically on a given day. Obviously, Prime also has an app. That's how they send information. The messages that come to your Qualcomm also come to your app. Hold on a sec. My apologies, doing a little work here, getting the paperwork back as I'm getting ready to deliver today. So that's a great app. And then I've got a couple other ones that are in there. Blue Beacon, which is a truck wash. I've got another app in there that's a level, and that's relevant for tanker. You need a level to find out sometimes if your trailer is level. You need typically the nose to be higher than the tail when you're emptying product out. And typically you do have a level, and I do have a level in my toolbox, but sometimes it's easier just to do a real quick check. And you've got your phone if you're standing at the back. That's a pretty easy one to throw in there. So those are the apps that I usually use. But data is a big problem. And I encourage you to at least consider how much data you will need before you head out on the road. It's something to think about. You may not be able to afford bumping your plan before you start, but at least realize that it's something that probably will have to happen as you go. Unless you're somebody who can live without a phone and without the data, but you're going to use your phone more than you do at home. And the advantage is, even if you use your phone a lot at home, odds are you're probably hooked to your home Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi out on the road is, number one, it's hit or miss in terms of quality. You can get Wi-Fi, and I know I've touched on this, and I don't remember what video it was. You can get Wi-Fi at a truck stop. 99% of the time, it is not worth spending. You can either spend money or you can spend truck stop points for Wi-Fi, and that's while you're out in your truck in the parking lot. 99% of the time, you will spend that money and be upset that you did because the quality is not there. Pilot, Flying J, Petro, TA, Loves, they can all send me a nasty message saying our Wi-Fi is great. I don't know anybody who thinks it is great. You may say, I'm going to go to a truck stop that has a McDonald's and has free Wi-Fi, and I'm going to do that every night, and that's how I'm going to get my Wi-Fi. Okay, good luck with that. I'm just going to say that's not how it's probably going to happen. The last thing I want you to consider, and this has happened to me twice in 2 years. So consider this. The first time this happened was just after I started driving, and about a week ago, where my phone, as technology does, died. I'll be nice and say it died. It started acting up, started freezing. It just didn't work properly. And I had to get myself to a Verizon store. That is not a Verizon problem. That is I think I had a Samsung. Then I switched to a Samsung Note 4 is what I had last, and the Note 4 just started freezing up, and now I have a new LG V20. Hoping I won't have any problems with this one, but something to consider is that this is your lifeline. This is how you communicate with family. This is how you communicate with work. And when this phone starts having problems, it's not a nuisance like it is when you are at home. It is a I need to take care of it now situation. And because of that, having insurance on your phone, which you may not have considered to be that big of a deal, probably a bigger deal when you're out on the road. Same thing with a protective case or the screen covers. Probably a bigger deal. When you're getting out of your car and you drop your phone a couple of feet onto the ground, it's not a big deal. But when you drop it out of a semi, you're dropping it from 6, 8, 10 feet off the ground. It's less likely or more likely to cause problems, less likely to survive that fall, especially if it's not in a case. Also, the places that you go, if you drop it and don't find it immediately, it's a lot more likely to be run over by an 80,000-pound truck, and it's not likely to survive that. So, things to just consider before you head out on the road in terms of your phone. Is it important to you? Maybe, maybe not. I'm going to say that for 99% plus of you, it will be the only way you talk to your family. You may Skype on it. You may use FaceTime on Apple. Any of those things to communicate with your family and friends. If your phone has problems, if you don't have enough data, it might affect your well-being, your happiness out on the road. And it's something to consider before you head out. How easily can you get to an Apple store if you're an iPhone fan? How easily can you get to a Verizon store? How easily can you get to your AT&T store? Things like that. Things to think about. How much data do you need? Consider it. I didn't think much about it until I was out here. Obviously, it's a lot of times it's pretty easy to just call your company, bump up the amount of data you have. Getting the phone is a lot more of a bit of a project in terms of getting to a mall or getting to a storefront. Typically easy when you're bobtail, a lot harder when you have a trailer, but there could be a day where it's you have to get it done because your phone just simply stops working. Something to think about. Hope you enjoy the video. Thanks again for watching. I'll put the link in the description for an application if you'd like to come to Prime. Again, I'll put the list of the applications that I use, the apps for my phone, in there as well. And we'll talk to you again next week. Thanks for watching. Be safe.